This marriage is over. I am done.
At 2:17 a.m., I realized my marriage was already over. Not because he cheated, but because he watched me cry and still lied. I wasn't sitting there with evidence scattered across the bed like some detective in a thriller. I was standing in our kitchen, barefoot on cold tile, staring at a man I no longer recognized. His eyes were hollow, his excuses rehearsed. And somewhere between his third, I swear, nothing happened, and my own shaking hands, I understood. This wasn't about the other woman. This was about the man who could look at my tears and choose himself. Again, I wasn't naive. I was committed. There's a difference. For 6 years, I'd been the wife who believed in second chances, who smoothed over rough patches, who convinced herself that love was supposed to be hard work. I held us together while he slowly let go. And on that February night, with snow piling against the windows and silence choking the room, I finally saw it clearly. He hadn't left me yet, but he'd already gone. This is the story of how I found out, how I confirmed it, and how I made sure he'd remember me long after I was gone. I used to pride myself on being low maintenance. While other wives demanded date nights and grand gestures, I asked for nothing. I worked full-time as a nurse, came home to cook dinner, and never complained when Jordan's work meetings ran late. I was supportive, loyal, the kind of partner who believed that if you loved someone hard enough, they'd love you back the same way. I ignored the small things. The way he stopped kissing me goodbye. How he'd shower the moment he got home, even on cold nights when he claimed he'd been in the office all day. The phone that was suddenly password protected for work security. I told myself I was being paranoid. That 6 years of marriage meant something. That we were solid. Looking back, I see now what I refused to see then. I wasn't overlooking red flags. I was collecting them, folding them neatly into a drawer labeled trust, and pretending they didn't exist. Because admitting the truth meant admitting I'd wasted years on a man who'd already checked out. So I stayed quiet. I smiled. I convinced myself that his distance was stress, that his coldness was exhaustion, that his lies were just forgetfulness. I wasn't naive. I was terrified of being right. It started in October. Jordan began working late 3, sometimes 4 nights a week. He'd text around 7 p.m., stuck in a meeting. Don't wait up. I'd eat dinner alone, scrolling through my phone, trying not to feel abandoned. When he finally came home, he was different. Not angry, not defensive, just empty. He didn't come home late. He came home hollow. He'd kiss my forehead, grab a beer, and disappear into the den.
No conversation.
No touch. No eye contact. It was like living with a ghost who occasionally paid the mortgage. I tried everything. I cooked his favorite meals, wore the lingerie he used to love, suggested we take a weekend trip, just the two of us. He'd smile, nod, say, soon, and then vanish into his phone. One night, I asked him directly, "Are we okay?" He looked up, confused. "Of course. Why?" "You just seem distant."
I'm tired, babe.
"Work's been brutal." And I believed him, because I wanted to. But the truth was already eating at me. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. and watch him sleep, searching his face for answers.
Who was he thinking about?
Where did he go when his eyes glazed over during dinner?
I didn't know yet.
But I was about to find out. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for reassurance. It was a Saturday morning in late November. Jordan was in the shower, and his phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced over, just a reflex, and saw the notification preview. "Marta, last night was perfect. I can't stop thinking about you." My stomach dropped. I picked up the phone. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped it. I swiped up, No passcode needed. He must have forgotten to lock it and open the messages. And there it was. Everything. Months of texts, photos, voice notes, plans to meet at hotels I'd never heard of, inside jokes I wasn't part of, her telling him she loved him saying it back. I scrolled until my vision blurred. There were messages from nights I'd waited up for him, mornings I'd kissed him goodbye, believing he was going to work, evenings I'd convinced myself I was overthinking. He'd been living an entire life without me. I heard the shower turn off. My heart slammed against my ribs. I put the phone back exactly where it was, walked out of the bedroom, and sat on the couch. When he came out, wrapped in a towel, smiling, I just stared at him. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded. I wasn't snooping. I was gathering evidence. I didn't confront him that day. I couldn't. My mind was too loud, too fractured. Instead, I went silent. Over the next week, I became a detective in my own marriage. I checked his location when he said he was at the office. He wasn't. I found receipts for dinners I'd never attended. I discovered a separate credit card I didn't know existed, with charges to boutique hotels and expensive restaurants. And then I found the photos. They were in a hidden album on his cloud, password protected but easy to crack. Our wedding date, because of course it was. Pictures of them together. Her sitting on his lap at some rooftop bar. Him kissing her neck while she laughed. He loved her differently. That's what broke me. It wasn't the sex. It wasn't even the lies. It was the intimacy. The way he looked at her in those photos. The way he used to look at me. The way I'd been begging him to look at me again for months. She got the version of him I'd spent 6 years trying to keep alive. And I got the leftovers. I printed one of the photos. I don't know why. Maybe I needed proof that I wasn't crazy, that this was real. I folded it carefully and put it in my purse. I was ready. I waited until Friday night. He came home late, as usual, smelling like her perfume. I was sitting at the kitchen table. The printed photo was in front of me, face down. "Hey, babe," he said, tossing his keys on the counter. "You eaten?" I slid the photo across the table. He froze. "What is this?" "You tell me." He picked it up. His face drained of color. And then the performance began. It's not what it looks like. "She's sitting on your lap, Jordan. We were just..." "She's a coworker. It was a work thing. We were drunk. For 6 months." His jaw tightened. "You went through my phone? You're upset that I found out? Not that you did it." He sat down, ran his hands through his hair. And then he cried. Not because he hurt me, but because he was caught. "I'm sorry," he choked out. "I'm so sorry. It didn't mean anything. I'll end it. I swear. Please, don't leave." I just stared at him. "You don't get to cry," I said quietly. "Not after what you did." He reached for my hand. I pulled away. "Please. I love you." "No," I said. "You don't." I didn't leave that night. Not because I forgave him, but because I needed time. The day I stopped asking questions was the day I took my power back. I stopped crying. Stopped begging for answers. Stopped trying to understand why I wasn't enough. Instead, I started planning. Jordan thought my silence meant I was healing. He tiptoed around me, buying flowers, cooking dinner, suggesting couples therapy. He thought he could fix this. He couldn't. Because while he was trying to win me back, I was quietly dismantling the life we'd built. I opened a separate bank account. I transferred half of our savings, my legal right. I consulted a lawyer. I documented everything. The texts, the photos, the receipts, the lies. I even reached out to Marta. Not to scream. Not to beg. just to let her know who she was really dealing with. I sent her a single message. He'll do it to you too.
She blocked me.
But I know she read it. And then I waited. I watched Jordan relax. Watched him think he'd gotten away with it. Watched him smile at me over dinner like we were fine. I smiled back because I knew what was coming, and he had no idea. I chose a Tuesday. Jordan hated Tuesdays. He came home to an empty house.
No furniture.
No photos.
No me.
I'd moved out while he was at work. Took everything that was mine, left everything that was his. I even left the wedding photo on the mantle, with Marta, face photoshopped in next to him. He called me 17 times that night. I didn't answer. The next morning, I filed for divorce. But I didn't stop there. I sent a detailed email to his boss, HR-friendly, of course, outlining his affair with Marta, a junior employee. Attached were time-stamped messages proving he'd used company resources to facilitate the relationship. I didn't have to lie. I just had to tell the truth. He was fired within a week. Marta was transferred. And I made sure everyone knew why. I didn't blast him on social media. I didn't need to. I simply told our mutual friends, calmly and factually, what had happened. No drama.
No hysteria.
Just the truth. He tried to paint me as vindictive. Said I was overreacting. But our friends saw the texts, the photos, the receipts.
They chose me. And Jordan?
He lost everything.
His job.
His reputation. His marriage. And Marta left him 3 months later. Turns out, she didn't want a cheater either. A year later, I ran into him at a coffee shop. He looked smaller. Tired. He tried to smile.
Hey, he said.
You look good. I know. Can we talk?
No.
He nodded. Looked down at his cup.
I'm sorry.
For everything. I know you are. Do you ever think about us? I took a sip of my coffee. Let the silence hang. No, I said finally. I don't. And I meant it. Because the truth is, he didn't lose me when he cheated. He lost me when he thought I'd stay. I walked out of that coffee shop and didn't look back. Not because I was bitter, but because I was free. He thought he broke me, but all he did was show me what I was capable of. And now, I'm everything he'll never have again. This is Revenge Unscripted. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share.